Hi, I'm Jordan Cohen. I play saxophone with Lawrence, and I also help run their our onstage sound using this new QSC Touch Mix 30. I'm gonna dive in and show you guys how we use this board for our everyday setup. So I'm gonna walk you guys through kind of what we would do when we walk into a venue. The first thing we do, hopefully you can see all this, is right here on our top right, we have these different scenes. We primarily use 5 or 4 monitors, so let's assume that the venue has 5 monitors. We'll just click on 5, hit recall. Do I want to recall? Yes. Great, so now you can see on the right, we have our 5 monitors set up. So we have horns as aux 1, Clyde, which is lead vocal and piano on aux 2, Gracie, lead singer, guitars, drums. We have a fill, but we actually don't really use that. Cool. So from there we have these, the input channels are grouped in pages of 8. So we made it so that our first 8 is just our drums with 1 left over, because we don't really use that right now. And then you go to page 9, the second page, 9 through 16. That's kind of all the instruments. So we have bass, guitar, keys, main, organ, and the 3 horns. And then 17 through 24 are all the vocals. So what we were talking about earlier, what you can see here is you go to the horn page, and you can see on this aux, right, I have mostly my vocals, a little of the lead vocals, a little bit of some instruments, and that's really it. And obviously everyone's page will look slightly different. Within that, let's take a look at one of these channels so we can kind of walk through the channels through. Let's go to snare. Cool, so this is bass. We have, I don't know if you can see this here, but it says snare basic preset. So you see their EQ. I'm not sure if we've tweaked this or this is the standard one, but just so you can see all the options here, we have a great EQ. When you put the RTA on and you have signal throwing, you'll see a spectrum analysis on it, which is really useful. Compression, gate. I think we have 4 FX buses, or I guess we have 6 FX buses. One of them is pitch shift, which we'd obviously not use on a snare. You see your auxes here, and then presets. So this is really cool, obviously, where you choose the preset you're looking for. Setup, which is what we're sending it to, like which outputs we're sending it to. And that's obviously the same for all the channels. So this is now, we're looking at the output settings. So here we have our, this is kind of the overview. So parametric EQ, we have same thing with the RTA. This is just kind of a broad EQ we have. And then you have a graphic EQ, which you can actually use in conjunction with the anti-feedback wizard to pull out some of those harsh frequencies. Again, RTA on, and that will show you what frequencies are popping out. I'll come back to the anti-feedback so we can spend more time on it. Compression, we're not using too much on these auxes. You can actually send aux mixes to other aux mixes, which again, we're not really doing too much. And we have presets, which we don't use on the auxes, although maybe we should try it. I never really thought of that. Cool, so the anti-feedback wizard. This is as simple as it is. You won't be able to see the effects right now because we have no sound going on, but we would show up to a venue and instantly reset it, which blanks the whole thing out. And the idea here is we have 12 separate like notch filters that, there's 2 ways of doing it. One is running the feedback wizard, which is really cool. You basically hit feedback wizard and hit start. And what'll happen is that this fader will start to ride up and up until there's feedback. And as soon as the computer recognizes it, it's just gonna notch it out the proper amount. So if it's a massive feedback, it'll come down maybe 10 dB, and if it's not that harsh, it'll come down 2 dB. And you'll see the frequency up here that's coming down. And this will keep going up and up until all 12 notches are notched out appropriately. You could also, what I like to do, is maybe catch the first 4 or 5 most blaring frequencies, cut those out, then stop the wizard, and then I have 6 notches that I have left. So throughout sound check, when things start acting up, the second way of correcting that is you see right here where it says no lock, that would say whatever frequency is feeding back. And once it says that and you hear it very obviously, you just hit manual kill and you'll see the same effect. You do have some control over it, which we've never had to use because the feedback wizard is so cool, so strong, so powerful. But let's say it theoretically cut at 866. Let's say 7 dB, and that wasn't cutting it. You needed to cut more, which again we never really need to do. But you could pull that out all the way to 16 dB. In addition to that, you have a Q on the on the cuts. You can make them really narrow or really wide, and you have a depth. So just to like make a fake little version of what this might look like. This is probably not that realistic. It's probably more like this. So let's say this is what, after we did 4 bands, this is what it looked like. You could actually then take the filter depth and make it a little less or make it a little more, because sometimes it does affect the overall sound a little too much. So you can cut that back a little bit, and you can make the Q more narrow to only hit those problem frequencies. That's really it. It's that simple. I'm not sure if that sounded like a lot, but I promise once you do it once or twice, it just becomes like the easiest thing and just part of the routine of setting up.